A farmer sprayed 1 liter of herbicide in between his legs.
Oh my God. Amos. What? See, this is my suggestion because of y'all freaks. Close your eyes and click on something. Jesus. Okay.
This is how his organs shut down. PT is a 43-year-old man presenting to the emergency room with chest pain and scrotal eczema. He tells the admitting nurse that he could feel
That's ball sack.
his heartbeat in between his legs because sores and strange wounds started appearing there over the last several days. But all of that was because the...
What did he have? Crabs? Like, why would he do that? The freeze frame? I know. With a spray. Daisy, I don't know.
medicine that he was applying to the area was working. PT was a farmer living in the country with his wife. One day, he had to sneak in his own house. It was 4 in the morning. He had too much to drink.
Yeah, so he was drinking. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. He probably thought he had an STD.
Told his wife that he was going out with the boys.
Yeah.
As he creeped into his bedroom, he knew if he woke her up, he wouldn't wake up alive because...
Bro, is that a Quake poster? Uh-oh. Yeah, he was at the club, bro.
He had been to a place and had an encounter that he shouldn't have had.
Yep. He thought he had some sort of herpes, so he sprayed... Yep, exactly. We've all been there.
PT's secret meeting that night came with what he believed was punishment from God. After the events of that evening, he thought he felt what was at first a dull burning sensation from
chlamydia.
From under the shaft, crawling up just below his belly button every time he needed to urinate. But as the time passed, he was convinced that there was discharge present there.
Oh.
He thought he could see it. He thought he could smell it. But at other times in the day, he just wasn't sure if something was really there or if this was all just in his mind. Sometimes
he was feeling guilty. That's what it was. It was nothing. He was feeling bad.
Scratch, and he couldn't stop scratching because the area would get itchier and itchier. One day, PT was in the field spraying herbicide to get rid of some weeds, and an idea popped into his head.
Brilliant.
Sometimes when he'd really dig in, he'd sometimes end up with chips of flaked off skin in his hands. If plant leaves slough off when herbicide is applied, a new foliage appears underneath.
Freaking foliage. Oh my God. Yeah, this dude's a genius, dude. What photographer, Rav?
This is just like skin, so applying herbicide between his legs should strip away and exfoliate what's there, leaving layers underneath anew. He knew that for sure. He had an infection in this area from his encounter that one night, so applying...
Don't go to a doctor. Nah, just spray herbicide on your dick. Like... Yeah, exactly, Amos.
...should fix all of his problems, he thought. In the bathroom, PT took a small amount of herbicide and diluted it in water. He soaked a paper towel in it and started rubbing it all over the shaft, the scrotum, and the perineum. Because he couldn't see all...
Alright, the shaft is like, you know what the shaft is. The scrotum, that's the ball sack. The perineum, that's what we would call the gooch.
All the way in there, he took the tingling sensation he felt as confirmation that it was working.
Oh my God. Amos, see what happens.
Some medicines you take 2 or 3 times a day.
Yeah.
So he thought to apply this herbicide at the same frequency, taking 10 minutes per treatment. A few days into doing this,
don't
PT
Google it,
in
man.
the
Just
shower
do it.
Noticed something with his scrotal skin. It was painful, swollen, and starting to slough off.
He's like, ooh, oh my God, it's starting to slop off. Holy crap.
Clearly, his treatment was working. If 2 or 3
His treatment.
3 times a day was producing results, 4 times
Yeah,
would
do it more. Yeah, if 2... do it more. Yeah.
be better. If 10 minutes works, then 20 minutes would clearly be optimal, as he started soaking his perineum in herbicide and putting a diaper on to increase contact time so that the chemical can...
So his wife... Okay. So here's the thing. Go to the doctor. Let the doctor say, okay, you have chlamydia or whatever. Here's a prescription. His wife would never know. No. I'm gonna dilute herbicide and spray it on my crotch, wear a diaper around the house, and itch like crazy, and have all these other problems. I don't understand, man.
Do its magic. As the days pass, PT continues his treatment, but he starts to notice that his chest would feel tight. In between his legs felt tender. It even hurt to walk because
exactly,
the skin
Daisy.
of his legs would rub together in that area, but that just means the herbicide...
this dude, imagine you're this dude here, and he's like, I'm gonna make it in the acting world one day. I'm gonna put my resume out there and get me a job. They're like, his agent calls him, we got a job, bro. He's like, oh, sweet, let's go. What is it? Well, here it is. Man, he's acting that dude. He's getting that resume filled. Look at him. It's non-existent, undergoing this treatment. Obviously. She let him suffer. Yeah.
Herbicide is working.
Man, he Oscar to him, right, Amos?
But finally, the hurt was too much. It was getting harder to breathe. This had been going on for at least 7 days now. PT went to an urgent care in the town nearby. They told him to stop wiping his groin in herbicide and to stop putting a diaper over it. They didn't know which herbicide it was, and they didn't ask. They concluded that it probably doesn't get through the skin, but they noticed some of the damage and injury that appeared there and washed and cleaned the area, telling him that things should be fine if he just stops applying the chemical there. But things weren't going to be fine.
No.
In the morning, PT woke up and felt like he was suffocating. The moment he got out of bed, the pain in his crotch was unbearable. His wife asked him what was wrong, but he didn't answer. He got into his car and drove himself to the emergency room, where we are now.
What a boss.
At physical examination, the medical team found that PT's blood pressure and heart rate were normal. His breathing appeared to be labored. When they saw the wounds between his legs, they saw the area was swollen, eroded, with bloody scabs. Scrotal skin was bleeding and it was ulcerated, and parts of it appeared to be necrosed. They noticed on his legs a dark-colored liquid that appeared to have splashed or rubbed on, likely from the diaper that they had to peel off to examine the area.
Dear God.
When asked what this was, he told the medical team what he had been doing over the last few days. When they asked him which herbicide it was, he showed them a picture of the bottle on.
You know, if you ever meet someone who works in an emergency room, ask them about their stories. I guarantee you that will be some of the most hilarious crap that you've ever heard. That's nasty, I know.
His phone. Immediately, the medical team get a chemical test and obtain a sample of PT's urine. In the test tube, a deep blue color appeared, and this gives the medical team some clues as to what's happening. The herbicide that PT rubbed on his body is paraquat, used in agriculture.
Paraquat. Let's see, a non-selective contact herbicide for the control of many annual and perennial grasses and broadleaf weeds. Okay.
In the United States under restricted use due to the fact that its misuse can result in fatal toxicities. However, the mechanism whereby it exerts that toxicity
Daisy.
is why it's so effective as an herbicide, and all of this derives from its chemical structure. Plants use sunlight to conduct photosynthesis to produce energy necessary for their survival. Water and light are used to transport an electron through a chain.
Look at that
with the end
chlorophyll.
result of energy and oxygen produced. Electrons are subatomic particles that are associated with energy, and their movements are responsible for electricity. But when paraquat is sprayed onto the plant, it has an extreme affinity for one electron to get sucked into its structure. Electrons are negatively charged, so when a chemical gains and incorporates that electron into its structure, its total charge reduces by 1. So we'd say that paraquat gets reduced.
You got that, Amos?
Oxygen is abundant in plants, and it comes into contact with this reduced paraquat.
Amos has a master's degree in chemistry.
They react. Oxygen takes the electron, reducing itself before it goes on to cause permanent damage. Paraquat is then available to steal more electrons, cycling non-stop. This disruption of biochemical equilibrium is the primary driver of paraquat's herbicidal mechanism, but this exact same mechanism plays out the same way inside of humans. But PT never put paraquat inside his body. It was only ever on his skin. So what's happening here?
I'm a therapist who does therapy. And
this is perfect.
Some people think that's strange. The thing is, though, therapists are human beings just like you.
I like how she's hot.
You've been thinking about or know that you need to go to therapy, listen. It's not abnormal, weak, or weird to feel overwhelmed.
You want to talk to her in therapy, Amos?
Angry, depressed.
You're gonna need more. There you go.
Confused when life is.
I love how this shows up on this ad here. It's like, this dude did what? That sounds like something I might do.
It's chaotic, or you're grieving, or you just started a new job, or you cannot stop arguing with your partner. We therapists don't just listen. We have years of education and experience on how to navigate through life.
You know she's an actress, right?
And we know what it's like to not be able to do that on your own. Most people imagine therapy as this tedious, time-consuming task that's supposed to get in the way of everything else we need to get done in our lives. But therapy doesn't need to be like that. Imagine therapy like this. Everything is online and your therapy takes place on a virtual platform, either on your phone or on your laptop. You schedule all of your appointments online, and if you aren't vibing with the first therapist that you're matched with, then you switch to a new one easily. The best part is this isn't something that you need to imagine. BetterHelp is the world's largest.
Let's finish this video. I gotta go.
Team did
Oh my God, it's only halfway done. Look at.
Urine test. The deep blue color confirmed the presence of paraquat in the urine. This means that
Why her shirt's ripped right there? Because it's obviously meant to attract people.
it isn't just inside his body, but that
Yeah,
paraquat
Rav,
is
you know what it
floating around
is.
in his blood, so much so that his kidneys have started collecting and filtering it and excreting it in his urine. All of this meaning that
so
PT's
he's got blue
topical
pee-pee.
application of paraquat has resulted in systemic absorption. And because he soaked his perineum and his scrotum and the shaft in so much paraquat for so many days, the total amount in his body could be as if he drank it.
I can
The medical
logic.
team take a blood test and find that PT's liver and his kidneys are shutting down.
Oh,
Thinking
God.
that there couldn't have been that much that absorbed through his skin, they elect to wash the area between his legs to give him some
He could have
antibiotics
bathed
just
in
in
it.
case that those wounds are starting to get infected and to rehydrate him and push water.
Bro, I wonder what he had. This is like some killer STD, dude. Like, what did he have? It couldn't have been just regular run-of-the-mill herpes. It had to be some, like, super herpes.
Into his body so that his kidneys can function again, but it wasn't enough.
Ooh.
The following day, PT complains to the medical team
AIDS
that the
Pro
pain between
Max.
his legs is worse than it was the day before. Despite the area being cleaned and no more paraquat present, the bleeding on all of those parts was more severe than before. But even worse, he tells them that it feels like a rubber band is being tied around his chest because he's struggling to breathe. The medical team noticed that his abdomen is now
I
swollen.
wonder if they need to rub lotion on his shaft.
And another blood test finds that PT is going into multi-organ failure and there isn't enough oxygen in his blood. This brings us back to chemical structure. Paraquat is a bipyridal herbicide. Bi
Yeah,
meaning
thanks,
two
Eamon.
and pyridal referring to pyridine, a molecule that has high affinity for electrons. Another herbicide in this class is diquat, something that you can get off the shelf in home improvement stores in the United States. Do you remember that oxygen in plants that reacts with reduced paraquat?
Yeah.
Well, that pathway tracks in humans too. The resulting superoxide radical is reactive. Nature tends towards stability. When something is reactive, another way to describe it is that it's unstable.
Yes.
And in order to stabilize itself, it needs to react with something. We know that matter is conserved, meaning that it's neither created nor destroyed. So if something is unstable, and to stabilize itself, it reacts with something else, then a transfer of matter occurs at this time. For a biological system, a change in structural integrity out of the ordinary because of the actions of a reactive compound means permanent damage happening. It means that normal function
What's up, Mr.
can't
Killer
occur
Sis, you
anymore.
little freak?
But humans have innate
Skip
stores
the
of
chemistry
chemicals
lesson.
that
I
can
know.
prevent
What is this? We
damage
want to
done
see,
by
like,
superoxide.
uh-oh.
And
Oh, that
related
don't
to
look good.
Paraquat is this because his oxygen level
All
in
right.
blood was low. The medical team gave him some supplemental oxygen through a mask, but his condition kept getting worse. All of this telling the medical team that the severity of PT's poisoning is as if he drank paraquat,
Oh.
and it only takes a small sip of it to be fatal. Typically, when substances are applied dermally, they don't usually result in systemic toxicity. The skin has proteins and specialized structures to protect the body from external pathogens. But PT's situation is a little different. The scrotum is highly vascularized.
Oh my God. Amos, see what happens, man. Law, I know. Those are testicles.
Meaning that there's a lot of blood vessels and a large blood supply flowing through the region.
Some people don't have a large blood supply because, well,
Because it's slightly
Oh,
offset from the body
God.
in an effort to give gametes an environment to thrive that's cooler than body temperature, scrotal skin is thinner than the skin on the arms and the legs.
Amos, you turning my channel into trash, bro.
Scrotal skin also has many folds and wrinkles in it,
Oh,
meaning that
Jesus.
should the area not be properly dried before clothing is put on, liquid contact time can increase, But PT didn't just quickly rinse this area in paraquat. He immersed the shaft, the scrotum, and the perineum, applying a large amount. But then he didn't clean it off and put a diaper
Man,
over
my
it,
channel's going down the
dramatically
toilet,
increasing the
y'all.
contact time that paraquat. In a small science experiment, the scrotum was found to absorb creams rubbed on it at a rate 42.
Someone did a study. Hydrocortisone absorption, total effect of anatomic region, the palm, the back, the scalp, yes, the scrotum. Someone rubbed hydrocortisone on their scrotum for this test at 42 times the normal rate. Oh, God. Was this John Hamm's first acting job? I don't know. Yeah, man eggs. John Pork, Indiana Bones.
Times more than when those creams were applied to the forearm, meaning that compounds can potentially absorb more.
Imagine being in this thing. I wonder if this was one person. It was like, okay, you're going to put it on your forearm. You're going to put it on your back. And then one dude has to rub all the stuff on his scrot. You know what I mean?
Through this area than anywhere else. And paraquat didn't just dry up and evaporate like water would. It stayed there until he applied it a second time, and a third time, and a fourth time, all in a single day, before he did it again the next. Paraquat
That's right,
absorbs through the skin, especially the kind that's known to absorb a lot of what's applied to it. But then the wounds started appearing. The area was ulcerated with blood scabs, meaning that when he did this reapplication, it was applied over damaged skin, creating additional opportunity for paraquat to leak into his body systemically. PT was placed on dialysis, where his blood was diverted to a machine so that it could be filtered and cleaned for him because his kidneys had completely shut down.
Oh my God.
The liver normally metabolizes.
He was just trying to hide his affair from his wife, dude. Like, y'all, just go to the doctor, man. Like, I don't know.
Breaks down chemicals in the body, neutralizing them, but paraquat doesn't get metabolized. The only way to get it out of his blood is through the kidneys.
Yeah,
but
dialysis.
Getting it out of the blood doesn't get rid of what's already absorbed into his
Right.
organs. As paraquat reaches an equilibrium flowing back
Freaking
and forth
sepsis.
between organs and the blood, the one place that it appears to be accumulating in PT's body is his lungs.
Uh-oh. Oh, what is this? Uh-oh. Yeah, get out of the way. Yeah, give me that gun. All right. We'll skip this. Hang on. Oh my God.
You see, cells in the lungs are known to have a pump for a kind of chemical called a
pump.
polyamine.
Wait, spermidine? What is that? Spermidine? Paraquat is stored in the balls? Apparently.
Poly meaning many, and amine referring to a functional group involving nitrogen. These chemicals have many nitrogens, and they're involved in normal function in cells, and on lung cells, they purposely pump those chemicals where the nitrogens are separated by 0.6 to 0.7
Amos, you getting this?
nanometers. The problem is, paraquat is a chemical with two nitrogens separated by exactly that distance.
Yeah, what happened to
meaning
the guy?
with permanent damage being done. The body detects this and sends the immune system in, causing inflammation and even more damage.
Yeah,
All
pain.
at a time when paraquat stays concentrated in the lungs, continuing to cause damage.
It's
and
already in
won't
your food
stop
supply?
until PT
It might be.
stops breathing.
Uh-oh.
When the medical team realized
Ooh,
that PT had
she's kind of cute.
paraquat in his urine, they sent a sample of his blood to test for the amount of paraquat present. Days later, the result returned. Paraquat ingestions were
Okay,
reported
what is
with
this? Just show us what
meticulous
happened to the
detail over
dude's
several
peen.
years quicker. Bipyridal herbicides don't. It developed into a situation where his heart started shaking in place, not actually coming together to make a full contraction to move blood throughout the body.
Yeah, it's
The medical
not
team
good.
tried to do
Uh-oh.
CPR to resuscitate
Dang.
him and to get his heart beating
Bro, did he die?
again, but they were not able to bring him back.
Uh-oh.
At autopsy, widespread lung fibrosis was found in PT,
Bro.
consistent with systemic paraquat.
He freaking
poisoning.
died.
There's a wide range
Man, they put him in the morgue. They put a tag on his toe.
of herbicides out now. Some are not toxic in humans when ingested, but Old houses, farms, agricultural areas in the United States will still use and have paraquat.
Okay, what's more embarrassing? All right. The wife. Think about the wife. Your husband had a 3 a.m. hooker. Okay, that happens. Or he rubbed herbicide on his nether regions and died after a few weeks. I mean, come on.
Controls
The wife got in the house, yeah, for sure.
have been put in place to restrict its use, but around the world, this poisoning still happens, and often enough to be in the news a couple times.
Wife used. All right, let me translate this for you. I've been working on my Chinese because my wife's Chinese. I'll translate it. Wife used whatever this paraquat to wash her husband's underwear for messing up the daughter's marriage, ruining 2 of his testicles. Okay. Wife used yeah. Brother and his wife have been married for more than 20 years. There are no quarrels. They don't fight a lot, right? But recently his wife's been washing his underwear. Well, I'm not going to read it all for you, but yeah, it's basically the same thing.
Times a month.
Uh-oh.
Thanks so much for watching.
All right, there we go.
Take care of
Oh,
yourself.
woman put mercury skin cream on her face. This is what happened to her brain. I can't. All right. Let's check out some comments. As an owner of testicles, I don't understand how anyone could so recklessly apply chemicals to them. That's true. Strange sores between his legs. Hear me out, but if you do strange things down there, they're no longer strange sores. They're completely understandable sores. That's true. Out of all the actors, this guy's my favorite one. He really gets into his character. That poor wife, betrayed, grieving, and having to be creative when asked how he died. Man, I tell you, these people.